All right, tonight we are diving into a high-stakes NBA showdown that had absolutely everything. We're talking about a dominant champion on a historic run, an unlikely rival that had become their own personal kryptonite, and one single game that sent a massive message across the entire league. Let's get right into it. So let me ask you this. What happens when the best team in the world, the one that's supposed to be unstoppable, has that one rival they just can't seem to beat? Well, that was the exact kind of baffling situation the Oklahoma City Thunder found themselves in every single time they stepped on the court against the San Antonio Spurs. And you really can't overstate how lopsided this had become. I mean, the Thunder were the defending champs, just steamrolling the rest of the league, but they were a shocking 0-3 against the Spurs this season. Every time they met, San Antonio just had their number. They were outplayed, outsmarted, and totally outmatched. So, here's the story of how that all changed. We're going to start with the bizarre context of this one-sided rivalry, then dive into a really tense first half, witness the third quarter explosion that completely flipped the script, and finally look at what this huge statement victory means for these two teams going forward. Okay, first up, the champion's kryptonite. It sounds like something out of a comic book, right? But to really get the weight of this game, you have to understand just how strange this matchup was. The Thunder were a force of nature against everyone. Well, everyone except the Spurs. And let's be clear here, the Thunder were an absolute juggernaut. They were the defending champs with the best record in the entire NBA at 34-7. They were on pace for another historic 68-win season. By every single metric, they were the team to beat. Except for one team, the San Antonio Spurs. Their 3 straight wins over OKC, all in a couple of weeks, didn't just make them a contender. It made them a nightmare for the Thunder. They were the one puzzle the champions just could not figure out. So, let's get into the game itself. You could just feel the history, the tension, right from the opening tip. It was tight, it was physical, and it had all the makings of another down-to-the-wire classic between these two. The Thunder came out swinging, you know? They jumped out to an early lead, clearly trying to set a different tone this time around. But, just like you'd expect, the Spurs were relentless. They just clawed their way right back in that second quarter to keep things tight. It was a classic back-and-forth slugfest. And by the time that halftime buzzer went off, it was just a 3-point game. If you're a Thunder fan, you had to be feeling that sense of déjà vu, thinking, oh no, not again. Is their kryptonite really about to get them for a 4th straight time? And then came the third quarter. And folks, this is where a tight, competitive game turned into an absolute masterclass. The champions didn't just wake up, they erupted. 40. Just let that number sink in. 40 points in a single 12-minute quarter. It was an offensive onslaught, a tidal wave that completely overwhelmed the Spurs and flipped the entire narrative of this rivalry on its head.
And this was the exact moment. With the game still sort of hanging in the balance, superstar Shai Gilgeous-Alexander drives, he scores, and he draws the foul. That and one pushed the lead to double digits, and you could literally feel the momentum shift for good. The dam had officially broken.
And that play was just one part of a truly historic night for SGA. He extended his incredible streak of scoring 20-plus points to 111 games in a row. That is the second longest streak in the history of the NBA. He wasn't just great that night, he was historically great. So by the time that insane third quarter was finally over, the damage was done. A close 3-point game had ballooned into a commanding 19-point Thunder lead. This wasn't a contest anymore, it was a coronation. So, how did it all shake out when you look at the final box score? Because this wasn't just a regular season win, this was a message being sent loud and clear to the rest of the league. And there it is, the final score. 119-98, a dominant 21-point victory. After 3 straight losses, the Thunder didn't just squeak by with a win. They left absolutely no doubt who the better team was on this night. Of course, SGA led the way for everybody with a massive 34 points, but he definitely had some help. Jalen Williams was huge, chipping in a crucial 20 points, which actually matched the Spurs' leading scorer, Stephon. But it wasn't all about the scoring. Chet Holmgren was an anchor on defense, with 10 boards and 3 huge blocks. And here's the real kicker. The Thunder did all of this while missing 2 key starters, their top rebounder, Isaiah Hartenstein, and their defensive stopper, Dort. That fact alone makes this dominant win even more impressive. So what does this all mean for the rivalry moving forward? Because trust me, this one game sent ripples throughout the entire Western Conference. But, okay, here's the crucial piece of perspective. Despite this absolute blowout win for the Thunder, the Spurs still held a 3-1 lead in the season series. OKC may have won this battle in convincing fashion, but the war for supremacy was far from over. But the real takeaway here is this. The victory was psychological. It was bigger than the box score. The Thunder finally proved to the Spurs, to the rest of the league, and most importantly, to themselves, that their kryptonite was not invincible. They had finally solved the puzzle. Which leaves us with one final fascinating question. With one more game to play down in San Antonio, who truly holds the edge now? Is it the Thunder, who finally have their swagger back? Or is it the Spurs, who are going to be looking for revenge on their home court? One thing's for sure, this rivalry has been officially reignited.